We're going to start with a disclaimer. I'm so I'm not sure if we need it, but just in case, just learning stuff, asking questions, talking about cybersecurity here. And why am I here? Okay, who am I? I'm a penetration tester, one woman army, certified in a lot of cover access things, physical security, because it's something that it's my interest. I'm called Wonder Woman of Cyber because of my picture on LinkedIn, and I like to share motivational and learning content on LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. And why am I here? Like mostly, I always just talking with my guest about that. That I did it. Yeah, I wanted to do a stream for 3 years, and so I gathered my courage, I guess, and I did it. So I'm here to. Fridays were supposed to be about hacking things live, but it turns out to be a podcast in the end. So here we are, and I wanted to introduce my guest. That's Jeff.
No worries. Jeff Tomkiewicz. So, offensive security engineer for Fortune 40 in healthcare. So yeah, work for them. I do offensive security, specializing mainly in social engineering, a little bit of physical. Love what I do. Been doing cybersecurity for almost 4 years here. Before this, I had a long military career, 21 years. Yeah, just doing law enforcement, and then a little bit of work with training, the little spec ops work, stuff like that, and then retired off into the sunset as a superintendent and all that. So yeah, but now working cyber, love it, and yeah, just couldn't ask for any more. It's an exciting field, per se, and all the cool people I've met. So.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I met you and was on one of the trainings with Brian Harris. And so, yeah, he's like connecting people with each other, like of similar interests. So I think
Right.
that's pretty cool.
And I remember one point, I had 90 under me. It was just like, all right, that's when I was like, all right, I kind of done. Nowadays, like, do I plan on being a leader again? And I don't know. I enjoyed it when I did it, but I love being technical. Boy, do I love it.
Oh,
So,
yes. Okay, another question. Thank you for answering. What one tool you can't live without on the job and why? Yeah, you're probably looking for a flipper or something.
no, not even. I am always writing stuff down all day. I carry a book with me. And I'll tell you this, I love these pens specifically, but this is the one tool I don't care, like what anyone says, yes, the pen, always have a pen on me or whatever, because always coming across something and yeah.
You're pen
It's
testing, yeah.
pretty simple, but I do have a flipper. I mean, I could say that,
But that's like a very good answer, actually. So I don't really leave my house without my headphones.
yeah,
So that would be like something essential. But I also uh, take a lot of notes, and some my memory is good, but very short. So I had to
right,
write stuff down,
totally,
and yeah, also I journal too because sometimes my
yes,
thoughts are very chaotic. So I just
hmm
want to clean up and like not think about stuff and just focus on something else. So like writing is also helpful. So yeah, I think something in common maybe.
yeah, heck yeah, no, 100%. That's good. That's good that you journal and everything. Seriously,
Yeah. And okay, another question. Can you share
yeah.
a recap of successes of the year 2024 and what are you
Woo!
looking forward for in 2025?
Wow. This year was huge. I don't know where to begin. I had a lot of successes. Had some failures, but I mean, mostly successes. First, I'll thank my team and everything. I think some are watching here right now. Thank you guys. Folks there, or team folks. But yeah, thank you. You guys helped me out to get where I am today. Like seriously. And then my leadership, James, Eric, all you guys, mad love. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Because yeah, they were champions of my success. Especially with social engineering and everything. But big things. Some of the bigger nuggets of this year. A lot of cool training. Yeah, I did a lot of cool training. One of them with Ralph May and Travis Weathers down in Tampa, Physical Exploit. I went through their
Ooh.
course. That was awesome, kind of like you did with Cap, hands on, you're out there, reconning it, everything. So that was like one, definitely the beginning of the year. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Yeah, there's other, great trainings too, with White Knight Labs, did their ARTO course. Great instruction there for Rob Pimentel, so check it out. And what else? Yeah, there's other, obviously like diving into AI and stuff. We did like a lot of great training with that here last quarter, really wrapping our brains around that. But the biggest piece I would have to say is, yeah, my work saying, hey, create a social engineering service line for us, please. They believed in me and said, no, you will get this done. We believe in you. And they were right. We gave them a section, and a service line fully up and running. And yeah, some
Yeah,
successes with it.
I think that's really important because we have, like in cyber, I think it's, yeah, maybe in tech overall, it's very common that people have imposter syndrome. So they don't really believe in themselves. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not totally. And
Yeah.
like when someone believes in you, like your manager or your team members, it's like, or even like I don't know, my followers on LinkedIn sometimes share messages with me that are like very encouraging, and
Yeah.
all like hard days. So yeah, that's I think that's really important.
Um, and then like I think the last thing too. I just made the circuit with a talk I had this year. Making the rounds, went to different B sides. Yeah, it was a good talk. On Active Directory misconfigurations and all. It was a lot of fun. One of the highlights going to New York. And doing B sides New York out there and meeting all the cool folks and just wow. And then oh yeah, another train. Shoot, like it's so much training. Obviously with Brian and everything, the audit course, the elicitation, that elicitation course too. Folks that want to get in social engineering, take that elicitation course by Covert Access Team. It will. I felt that was one of the few courses that actually where the rubber meets the road. I don't know about you, but like I've just you see training on social engineering everywhere. A lot of it's like phishing, excuse me, email phishing, but like actually learning like what do you say, how do you go about it when you're interacting with someone, that it met it, the need there. And I could not highly recommend any more, that course, like, go to it if you truly want to, get into it. So oh yeah, that's awesome, that discount code. But yeah, you know what I mean, definitely those trainings, the audit training as well. And that's another thing people don't, I think, realize with physical penetration testing, the audit side of the house. It doesn't have to be all kicking down doors. I wouldn't say kick down doors, but all covert, sneaky, sexy,
Yeah.
just grabbing a guy. Hey, you're a security guy. Come on over here. All right, yeah, your lock's here, not right. Stuff like that. So that was just awesome, to learn and skill up on for sure. So, whew, felt like I was going everywhere. A lot happened this year.
Yeah,
Oh,
I feel like
magazine.
you
Uh,
are a learner because like a lot of things that made you happy was like actually what you learned this year, like trainings.
Yeah, learning. I love to learn. I love training. Like I tell work, that's a big motivator for me. I'm like, pay raises are nice, but I love training. So if you give me some Gucci training, woo, So yeah, but yeah, that was as well. And then yeah, Hack Magazine writing that article for them. Hack is awesome. You've written for them this year too. I loved your articles. So yeah, big year. It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, loved it though. Those are
And
my highlights.
what are you looking forward in 2025? You have any big plans?
Yes. Well, one already. But let's talk about you. No, 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 no. Let's talk about you and your big wins. You've had some big
Oh,
wins, my friend.
yeah, actually, I think I
Yeah, let's
did.
talk. I'll hear you.
Yeah, I have a Kanban board, so I have to open that real quick because I have
Yes.
like the completed 2025 and four and in progress planned. So yeah, I think my biggest win this year was getting hired by Black Hills InfoSec. because I was looking at that company for many years since I joined cybersecurity, and it felt like, wow, this company is so fucking sorry, so amazing.
I get it.
And
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it was like a serendipity. I think maybe that's the thing what happened because I went to besides Krakow and like met some of them and like had a training with one of them, and also that I think it was like a life-changing conference for me because I took a training with Steven Borsch, and it was I was about adversarial techniques. Yeah, I don't remember right now like the exact title, but it was like very advanced cybersecurity, offensive security training, and I felt like, oh, yeah, that's what my train of thought was. Oh, I don't know, it looks like really difficult, but it looks also like amazing and awesome. I really want to take this training, but oh, I don't know if I can do it. Maybe it's like too advanced for me. And I like 2 days before the conference, I thought, oh, maybe I will not go to the training. I'm a bit scared, you know. I'm a bit anxious about that one. And then, like, I don't know, a few hours before in the train, I'm going. I bought the tickets. I'm going. So I went, and I'm really happy that I went because it turns out I had like very big imposter syndrome because everything was like I did those things before, and it was not difficult. And also Steve asked me for my CV after like 2 hours of the training because he liked what I represent with myself and like yeah like I was really active on the training. So yeah, I think that's like the biggest win that I was at the good place at the good time, and yeah, that ended up with me getting a really amazing job. So I'm really happy with that. Let's look at the Kanban board. I had again I had two presentations on Forum in Cyber in Montreal. That was like really awesome conference. I'm really happy that yeah, I started this Twitch stream. Actually, I didn't create like notes of my. I wanted to create a post, but this stream was like very big for me because I was thinking about it for 3 years. And what else? What
You did it. You did it. Yeah.
things?
Hmm.
Wait. Oh yeah, like I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a win, but I was dreaming about joining the cover access training with Brian for
Right.
yeah, like many years too. But it felt like I'm not sure if I can afford it. But
Hmm.
then I lost the job, and suddenly I felt, yeah, I can afford it because it's an investment in me. So it's a
Right.
must. And it also, like when I went to the training, I met some people that connected with me with potential job opportunities. So that was like, actually, yeah, I didn't get any offers through like the CVs I was sending through the
Right.
year. But like the people I met and they liked me or like they were watching me on LinkedIn for many years and like, oh, we want to hire you now or something like that. So actually, people wanted me for knowing me like before, like who I am,
Mhm.
and not for like sending CV. And what else I did? That was amazing. Uh,
All right. Sure.
oh yeah,
No, but like you
I
executed,
wrote
man.
an
You're
article for
good.
Hackett that was. I got accepted to BrunoCon was my first conference in the United States, but it got cancelled, so too bad. But I got accepted to a Wild West Hacking Fest in Denver,
When are you going to be
February.
up there?
February.
Okay, because I'm south. I'm in Colorado Springs, and now we're south of Denver. I'll drive up there and come see. Because I plan on coming to
Oh,
see a buddy that you work with. Well, one of your coworkers, just to say hi. And I was gonna go to the conference, but I was gonna go up to have dinner with him and stuff. So I will come find you, and yeah, let's get dinner. So,
find me, yes.
yeah, I'm only
Okay.
an hour away, so I'll drive up east. I go to Denver a lot, so yeah.
Oh yeah, I have at the beginning of this year that I didn't pass the OCP, but actually I don't. I'm not sad about that one. So yeah,
You
and
did.
yeah, yeah, I don't remember everything, but I'm sure I did amazing things. It's all a blur. I'm really happy that this year is over actually because it was more challenging that happy for me. So
Good.
okay,
I'm proud of you. No, seriously, like,
Yeah, I'm proud of myself too. Yeah, good job,
yeah,
Berat.
no, seriously, like, you, like we kind of talked before the stream here, though, like, yeah, you executed, and I kind of mentioned it before. It's like, yeah, people can show you plan. Everyone has a plan or whatever, cool. You can plan all day, but until you execute, and you know, and that's where people get held up. I feel a lot of time, but you didn't like with the stream doing that training. No, you just decided, no, I'm doing this,
Yeah, and
and
the YouTube channel too. Yeah, I got
yeah,
hints from the chat. So yeah,
yeah,
actually, what I wanted to say, it was something that I did before, because
mhm,
I used to be very scared of heights, and then
yeah,
I thought that yeah, this is something that is blocking me in my life, so I cannot grow because I'm scared pretty much living,
mhm,
uh, because there's like I was even scared going like one set of stairs, and it was like too high for me. So that was like very paralyzing fear. So I decided to jump out of the plane with the parachute, and I was really fucking scared. But and now I'm not as scared as before, so it helped.
mhm,
So this was a bit similar with the stream because I thought, okay, I don't have the perfect situation. I was waiting 3 years for the perfect moment. Moment
right,
is never perfect. I have a bad camera. I don't have like professional backgrounds like the streamers have. I'm blurring my background or like using the fake from Zoom. But I will figure it out. I just have to start and it will come. And I'm sure it will suck at first. I was like in my first like 2 or 3 streams, I was like really anxious and like there was like a lot of mistakes that I did or like something wasn't working. But I actually even today wasn't working at the beginning because I didn't have voice from you again. But yeah, I'm learning. So next year I wanted to rebrand a bit this stream into something like the same, but like with different packaging.
yeah.
So yeah, it's like I
You're
have
maturing
plans.
it, as you go along. That's
Yeah,
awesome, yeah. No, I feel that's perfectly natural, way it should work. So that's cool.
yeah. And
That's
what
it.
are your plans?
All right, all right, all right. On
I
to the
remember that.
2025. Okay. No, big announcement here, kind of in a way. So for those of you, that do, there's this conference called Layer 8, okay, conference. And what layer 8 stands for is obviously you have your OSI model, the 7 layers, but the 8th level is dealing with the mind and the human, the ways that humans can act, and all that good stuff. But it's mainly focused the conference on OSINT, open source intelligence, and social engineering. So for a while, for years they did have this conference up in Rhode Island, in the United States. But around, I would say COVID, they went virtual and then they kind of took a break. But they are starting things back up now. And this year they have announced for 2025 they are back in person. So they will be doing this conference on June 14th in Boston, Massachusetts, up at Boston University. And yeah, they've announced the two keynotes, Ray Baker on the OSINT side, and then Alith Dennis on the social engineering side. So the keynotes. At first, they were not going to do workshops. They were like, oh, we're just going to do it the following year. But they had a change of mind. So they're going to do 2 workshops. One of them will be OSINT focused, and they got their instructors all set, ready to go on that. Then the next one will be social engineering based, and I will be heading that one. So I'll be presenting a workshop on building effective pretexts for social engineering at a Layer 8 conference and everything here in June in Boston, my hometown. So I'm really excited for that, and it's going to be a really good time, really good conference. Already, I'm like the people I'm talking to, they're going to be there. I'm just like wowed, floored. There will be more details. If you want, listen to their podcast. It's on their site that was posted in the chat. You can find it there. Many great speakers. I will be on there in February myself on the podcast, and we'll be talking more about the workshop and some other cool announcements they're going to announce as well coming up. So yeah, check it out. Layer 8 conference, or Layer 8 Con. Again, yeah, you can find them on Discord, and I think they do have a Discord. I'm not sure, but Blue Sky, all that good stuff. But yes, very excited. And again, like you, I never thought in my life, my dreams, that I would be doing this, So it makes it really like special, that I get an opportunity to sit here with the pros, do this. So
Yeah, congratulations. And
thank you.
that's like really, really cool. And
Yeah.
a side note, I just wrote because I got interested in this conference as well. So I saw that call for papers will open on January 1st.
Yep. Hmm.
So maybe I will send something. Who knows?
I would hope you do because they're looking for more folks, and I think you should. That would be amazing. Like
Yeah,
if you could.
because I got accepted to Wild West Hacking with my old
Yeah.
present. So I had a presentation that I was like reheating this
Right.
year, social
Yeah.
engineering, and I had it on few conferences actually. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to make it better because I know it by heart by now. So I wanted to do it with like a spin on like social engineering on physical assignments,
Yeah.
physical
Like
pen
combining
tests.
the two. Yeah. 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 That's
So I
awesome.
think that will like add another layer, like not only like
Right.
from the books, but like from experiences, from like what
Right.
people will like share with me, because I want
Mhm.
to interview a few people that I know, and yeah, create a presentation with like who told me this,
Right.
because I've never been on an engagement, but I really want to. So I think that would be a cool presentation. I hope so. So maybe we'll send that one too.
Yes, I think you should. I really think you should. For sure. That'd be amazing. Like if you were, oh, it'd be wild. So I'll show you all the good places to
Oh
eat.
yeah, yeah, yes.
I'll bring you to the Italian area, the North Ends, everywhere. So yeah, cool.
I,
Yeah, I'll definitely for sure though. When let me know when you get into Denver and everything, and yeah, I'll make sure specific date too for that as well. Cool. Oh,
uh,
yeah, that's 2025 so far. Other than that, biggest things we're just gonna be rocking and rolling as a red team at work. We're expanding our reach and essentially in 2025 and a lot more collaboration work with our blue team folks, for instance, and subsidiaries, all that. They really want the social engineering. I guess there's a hunger for it. So
oh,
cool.
I didn't. That's interesting.
Hopefully more physicals, but maybe I'll have to do some off time work, to do the physicals. We'll see. But,
I think, yeah, I made notes. So I think the conference is, yeah, on 5th of February, yeah, February
okay.
4th and 5th. I am
Okay. Cool.
sharing the link in the chat if someone wants to
Yes. All right. Yeah.
check it out. That's where I'm going. Okay, next question. What's your take on security through obscurity? Do you ever find it effective during engagements?
Obscurity. Oh, them trying to hide something. I wouldn't do it. Yeah, especially in a good pen tester. Oh, they're gonna find it. It's like the Wi-Fi bit trying to hide your SSID or whatever it is. Like your ID. Like you're not. Like good luck. You can still find it. Like yeah, you may be adding another step, just creating more work. That's all you're doing. But they're gonna be found at the end of the day. Maybe some cases like, it could work. Maybe. But
Yeah.
But I noticed that
Uh,
especially with Wi-Fi. That's why people try to hide their networks and good luck. There's ways around it. So.
yeah. Smart people out there, looking for interesting
Yeah,
things.
exactly. And like when you try to hide it, it's going to make me more curious. Why are you hiding this? If I wasn't a test, not saying that I'm not saying the shoes of a test. Let's just say I was a hacker guy or whatever. Put my bad guy hat on. Like it's going to make me wonder. Well, what's going on here? Like why are you hiding this? It's just going
Yeah,
to make me,
yeah,
you
that
know,
makes it more exciting, like more
right?
intrigued, like why is
Yeah,
that hidden? What kinky stuff is happening here?
right. So it's like I want to break in even more like now. So yeah, that's just my thoughts.
Okay, have you ever leveraged social engineering in English is hard and I'm tired. Sorry. I have to
No,
start
no,
from
no.
the top. Have you ever leveraged social engineering in an unexpected way to gain access to a target?
I wouldn't say in a real life, but like everyday life, yes. And it's just like I wouldn't hate to say this because it's not like I'm trying to, get what I want, but just like with the interactions with people every day. And there's a move, Brian, I don't know if he's listening in on this, but he taught us the head tilt, you know. I love that thing. Head tilt works like a champ, when you're talking to people. And for those that are listening in and don't understand, when you're engaging with somebody, to kind of like put them, I wouldn't say put them off, but to show that you're not a threat, kind of tilt your head a little, exposing your neck and everything. Because that's like an evolutionary trait, with predators and all that. If we're showing our neck like this and talking, we're kind of, I'm not saying like all the way like this, but
Yeah,
like
like
just a little, and it just shows we're non-threatening. We're showing our neck, stuff like that. So, something like that, I'd say like that's my favorite technique. And I use it with like people that are like more reserved and all. And you'll see it. They'll start opening up, more once you kind of show them you're not a threat, and you start working with them and all. And I just seen positive benefits from that technique. Yeah. And even when I'm on the phone doing phone calls and all, I will do it a little because it kind of puts my mind in, my mind frame, like, oh hey, like puts me in a better mood almost. Transfers onto you, the listener.
yeah, actually, like the evolutionary things that happen like in the brain and like.
Hmm.
So yeah, I watched a lot of podcasts recently, trying to listen to smart things. So on one of the podcasts, I saw that when you are lying, then your muscles are like not as strong. So
Like tighten up a little bit, or you
yeah,
saying?
so there was like the professor, like someone asked the podcast creator to say I love something, and that's something that
Right.
is true, and to put his hand up, and then she pressed up it, so there was like she couldn't, but there was like he was holding it firmly. But when she asked him to say, "I love vomiting," or like something that is obviously not true,
Right.
then she pressed on his hand, and it was like he fell on the
Like
ground
tensed up. Yeah.
because he didn't believe in what he's saying. So that's like really interesting.
Yeah, no, that is. And it's like those little things that you can do. It's not like, and I want to, for the audience folks, because this thing out there with like social engineering, like reading body language and stuff, like you got to be very careful with that. Because like, and I'll just case in point, you'll sit there, someone's sitting there with their arms straight, and and like some people are gonna be, oh, they're angry, they don't want to talk. No, actually, I just know people just listen to the conversation. They're not mad, angry, or anything. So be wary of that. There are certain things to look for, but I would say don't drink too much of the Kool-Aid on that. There are things to look for, but yeah, just beware.
Yeah,
It works
everyone
to an
has.
extent, So be wary. That's all.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, we don't really like look at everyone as the same person. Everyone is individual and have all like someone can be neurodiverse, for example,
yes,
or
good point.
yeah, and it will not work.
Right.
That person will have other like things.
Yeah, like you know, or you think, oh yeah, they're in the talking mood. No, they're not. So, yeah, just be wary of it. Is what I say. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. What would you say is the hardest part of the job that most people don't think about? Like, I don't know, pen testing or social engineering, whatever you want to talk about.
Um, I'd say maybe a common thing, just planning. Planning the test out, executing, stuff like that. Because I work for an internal team. I'm not a consultant, or anything like that. And so, yeah, it can get a little tricky. I feel like at times, because yeah, it's like you're rearing to go, you work hard, you're getting everything ready, your infrastructure, whatever it is you're doing, and then yeah, yeah, Rob's here, yes. So my buddy Rob here, he's my boss, but yeah, he mentioned it, attention to detail. You're right, in those little details, like that's the hardest part. Because yeah, you gotta know what's going on, especially if you have other team members on there. Because like one of these, like I'm not the only one just making calls, not just me. I will find others on the team, like females especially, because they make the best ones. I don't care, social engineers. I don't care what anyone says, But yeah, I
Yeah.
want them on the phone, like hell yeah, and I'm watching them, do their thing or whatever. So it's like gathering your folks, on your team, making sure they understand the pretext, the plans, all that. And again, like Rob said, or Hacker Romanos, great group by the way, look them up. Yeah, that attention to detail. They need to know, like, are they tracking every bit here? Because, for instance, we've had stuff where I'm calling at 3 in the morning, not at 5, and like people are like, well, why? And like, I didn't know that piece. Well, yeah, we're supposed to execute at this time. You weren't paying attention. So that little things like that, and the reasons why to it, the method behind the madness, whether it be from the intel reports we get that we're basing these attacks off of, stuff like that. You gotta pay attention. But yeah, that and scheduling, because yeah, if you're ready to go, you and your guys are all hyped, like, like, nah, we gotta stop here. Or this happened and they're not ready yet, or things happen. It's just
But yeah, actually, I wanted to ask a question with the attention to detail because I would imagine that on my first engagement, I would be so hyped up that I will talk with the person, but not really remember what that person told me. So, what are like tips or tricks to remember like what was the conversation actually?
I love this. Yep. So, all right. So when you're getting ready and all, have your moment before you're getting ready. And I feel like this was a question you were gonna ask. Like, I'll tell you my ritual here in a way. This is kind of like when I'm getting ready to do a talk or anything. I have my little moment beforehand, whether it be at the conference, whatever. I'll find a quiet area, whatever. I put in my earbuds, and I'll just straight up tell you this, guys. I'm a big Wu-Tang fan. So before that, I'm putting on Wu tracks. I'm like getting down, like let's do this. And like Bring the Ruckus in particular was one of them, and like, yeah, I just get myself mentally ready and like, almost like what they call it, like, who I am, kind of, it sounds kind of silly, but, and yeah, I'll just get myself ready, mentally ready, like, you can do this, this is you, man, like this is game time, type of thing. Kind of like you'll see like the fighters or whatever, before they get into the octagon or whatever the cage, they're doing their thing, mentally getting ready, the coach is with them. Like that's what I'm doing, like 15 minutes or so, 30 minutes beforehand, get myself ready, prep time. So yeah, that's a big thing, I do to, help get my mind right. Depending on the type of engagement we're doing, like I showed earlier, if it's vishing, yeah, I got a recorder going on. Um, Also, like, I'll have a tracker, just like, hey, this is the time we called, the number, person, did they pick up? All right, if they did they comply? Yes, no, and then a little area for like details on the call, how it went, and, what happened. Because at the end of the day, we're just, yeah, they're not looking, like, I'll tell you now, they're not looking what was said specifically in the call. Maybe it might come down to it, but did they go to that site? Did they do that MFA reset? What happened at the end of the day? Like, did they do it or not? So, and that's what I'm putting in the report,
Okay.
with my statistics and all that. Yeah. So,
So, did you ever have to talk with the person like face to face?
not yet. Like I did one recently. I want to, not in a negative way, if I'm allowed. Again, because I work internal, company, so it's a
Okay.
little different from a consultancy. So I want to make sure I can get permission, do that. Because I would just like to sit with them for just 5 minutes. Like, hey, even the ones I did, because I've had folks that, yeah, right, call back from the right number or whatever, click, or turn me on, like, awesome, and I just want to tell them good job. So yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
because
recommend it. You can give feedback. Give feedback, and it's training at the end of the day. It's supposed to be positive. They're supposed to learn, not, oh my God, am I gonna get fired? No, it's not supposed to be like that.
so you tell the person that what just happened and that they did well, for example, if they didn't.
Yeah, hey, this is something like you should need to look out for next time. And at the same time, like, let's be real here. This stuff, like, it's easy to get social engineered. I don't care how good you are, if you do it for a living, or how good you think you are. Yeah, you're sitting there going about your day when you get that call, email, whatever it is. Not like, and that's how it works. It's like they just need a split second for you to make that move. I've been gotten. Like one time I got an email saying, "Hey, it's been logged that you went to this like bad site." It's like, no, I didn't. And I go to click it, and as soon as I clicked, I'm like, they got me. Hey, logo, yep, this is official. Like, yeah, and that's all they're playing. It's just that 1 second to get you. Whether it be fear, which I'm not saying we do because it's unethical. You're not using fear or blackmail or anything like that, but that's what they're playing off of you. Just that 1 second to get that emotional response. That's all they need, and that's it. Click, done. Game over. And you come to right after, like, oh, well, too late.
Yeah,
So,
so
report
I'm
it.
so I'm not getting that Christmas bonus after all. It was a phishing scam. Okay,
Oh, I've
that
seen ones
time.
like that. Yeah, like
So
holiday
actually, I
parties.
wanted to say that yeah, I do have some knowledge on the social engineering. It's like one of my interests.
Yeah.
But like when I was on Brian's training with one of the people that we have to pair with, and he had experience with that for like many years already,
Mm-hmm.
and he was playing me like a cello. I was like lying there dead after a few seconds. So. It doesn't matter if you have experience, if someone is good or like I don't know knows how to use that skill, then yeah,
Right. They're gonna get you.
yeah, okay, yeah, it's
And it's
happening.
like, don't be embarrassed about it. That's what
Yeah,
I tell folks. Like, we're human, man. It's gonna happen. So
yeah, it's a learning moment, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Just be prepared next time for it. We learned, and we can move on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for answering. And another question: have you ever had a movie moment where something almost went catastrophically wrong? Almost, so not totally.
Hmm. I wouldn't say catastrophe wise, no. Like, luckily, that's what I'm scared of. I feel like that would be like time to get fired if it would get catastrophically wrong. But like I've just had things not work out to plan, or you think, okay, I'm gonna be making these calls, and I'm gonna get more people, than I thought I would. Like, for instance, did this one recently, had a list full of people. Yeah, we're gonna get mad people, da 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 da. Out of that list, only two answered. One of them I got, the other was like, pound sand, like later, like hung up. And so, yeah, that was it. And it was just like, all right, there's nothing you can do if they're not answering the phone, right? Doesn't count, so, I mean, they were just more curious. Hey, how'd you get that info and all? And, but yeah, gotta keep going, and don't get me wrong. It's not like I went through the list once. Oh no, I made sure 4 or 5 times I called those numbers back, but it's all I got at the end of the day. So, but yeah, I can't say anything catastrophic has gone wrong yet in my career. Maybe one day, maybe next week, who knows? So yeah, but I had things gone not to plan, as
Yeah, let's
before.
let's not wait for that. Like I
Right.
wish that you will not have those events in your life.
Yes,
So
same with you.
fingers crossed.
And we have long, prosperous careers.
Yeah, a lot of abundance and yeah, happiness yeah, in our futures. Okay. Do you have a lucky charm or ritual before going on an engagement? I think you answered it already, but maybe
Yeah,
you
pipe
have.
myself up. So, like, if you guys, folks, for those that are not, and I don't know if I told Rob this, he's watching now, but next physical or anything, there's a show in the US, a superhero show, Luke Cage. Luke Cage? I don't know if you know him. Well, on his TV show in season one, he was about to go in and destroy this drug house that was run by gangsters and all that. So they show him, and he puts on like his earbud, and like he presses play, and he's listening to Wu Tang, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. And then he goes into the drug house and like beats up all the drug dealers and all. But I want to do it, but without the beating up of people and all that. I just want to do the physical assessment, but make it cool, like I'm listening to Wu Tang. So yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that in the comment before that I psych myself with Wonder Woman music. Like
Yes,
if I go
exactly.
into an interview and I'm like feeling anxious, so then
Yeah.
it works actually. And also sometimes stand in like the superhero position, like with your
Yeah.
arms on your hips and like with your legs spread a bit, like with
Yeah,
like a
superhero
strong
pose.
position there. So like standing that for like 5 minutes also like helps with
You
yeah
should do real quick
confidence.
though, like you're deflecting bullets like Wonder Woman with her wrist, like, pew pew Wonder Woman, and like
Oh
then you
yeah,
go.
that's a good one.
That's the extra level, yeah. Then you know you're ready.
Uh, and then another one. What's a trick or tip you think only someone with experience in the field will know? That's a strange question, but
No, like a tip or trick that someone in our field would only know, or someone else would know. You think?
I will read that question again because I don't think I understand it myself. What's a trick or tip you think only someone with experience in the field would know? Like, yeah, secret
That's
knowledge,
a
I
good
guess.
one. It's a good one. No, it's a good one. Lock up after you're done, especially with physicals. Don't leave anything unsecure. I don't know. I think a lot of people would know that not to do that, but I guess it does happen. So I don't know. Because when people like say that, like make sure you lock up or your training or whatever. Like make sure things are secure before you leave it. Because if it's unsecure because of your actions, then obviously you open yourself up for legal action. But you would think, yeah, it's common sense, right? But I guess it happens. Like a lot of people don't think of that. I mean, that's the best I can come up with. So
Thank you. So yeah, I'm looking for the next
yeah,
question. What's the most creative exploit you've seen or used during an engagement?
that I've seen,
Yeah.
it's just some people like using common everyday stuff to like get the job done. Not necessarily like the sexy tools or anything that you know whether it be okay. Oh, I don't have an under the door tool, but I knew a guy who like crafted one out of like coat hangers or whatever it was, and was able to boop. I like seeing stuff like that. When that go-to tool or whatever it is isn't around. But hey, you can think on your feet and still make it work. Uh, that's the type of stuff I like to see, and I've seen it. With folks. I haven't had that cool MacGyver moment. I'm hoping one day, maybe,
Soon.
soon. Yes,
It's coming. Yes.
where I feel like a cool guy, walking away from the explosion. Well, not explosion. That really
Yeah,
sounds
I'm still waiting for that Mr. Robot moment where I just sit
yeah,
and like write comments out of my,
right, right.
fingers and like remember everything. I don't have to check the
My
flags.
notes. Yeah. Notes, that's for suckers. I'm Elliot.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. A bit
Yeah,
about physical penetration testing. If that's okay.
yeah.
What is physical penetration testing and how does it differ from traditional digital pen testing in your
All right.
experience?
So obviously on the cybersecurity side, we're protecting our computers, assets, all digital assets, all that. Through our means of, whatever means, pen testing, writing good policy, doing whatever. But this time with physical is like, no, we're physically testing your security, your people and processes even too, because sometimes we do a little SC or social engineering with that, and trying to from because we might not be able to get through, on the cyber side, with a remote code execution, whatever it is, So we might have to go in physically and do that. That's what these APTs or advanced persistent threats are doing. They will do it. Go to your data center or whatever it is and plug in a device. And so essentially that's what we're testing, physically. Can we get through to your facility, through your controls or whatever it is you have in place? And then we can split that up even further, as you do have physical, penetration testing and everything, but even that can be like divided up, okay? Where, yeah, you have that for mature organizations, you're going in covert, whatever it is, whatever objectives are given to you, that the client asks. But then, yeah, you also have that audit side where, yeah, it's not covert or anything. It's during the day. People know you're there, and you're just physically testing. Hey, you may have their security guy with you or a trusted rep from that company, and they're just going along with you and testing out that door lock, or hey, too much space between these double doors here. Bring it in. Stuff like that. But they're there with you. They're seeing what you're doing. Stuff like that. But yeah, that's my big spiel. So,
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask a different question, but
yeah.
this one, I think I always ask this question at the beginning of the stream. Yeah, I kind of forgot. So, because you uh, are yeah, doing the social engineering at your job, so I wanted to ask if you have any tips for people that would like to have that
Yes.
job and like, yeah, how to get into there.
Yeah, no, this is a good one I'll talk on for sure. So I'll tell folks this: getting a job where you're just social engineering all day and all that, few and far between. Um, and what I mean by that is like, yeah, there's just no jobs where I'm sure there are, you know what I mean, but they're hard to come by. Like, a lot of times, yeah, you're gonna have to go and learn the technical stuff first, and all that, which is all good. I enjoy it, I love it, but there's some folks that, yeah, that doesn't interest them. So, because a lot of the time we're attached to a red team or whatever it is, or we're working on one, and that's just our specialty, type thing, while we're doing other things, pen testing or Active Directory, whatever it is. That said, to increase your chances or to help you out, get more noticeable and everything. Um, I did say like some of the skills, like you have to be almost outgoing per se. But one thing I like to do, I do on the regular improv. I go to improv classes. We have a little theater in town, actually the only one in town here. I like to brag about that. But yeah, I perform out of, so I'll be doing classes. Sometimes I do shows, like, hey, need a guy, throw me in the show, so I'll go out live in front of an audience, do my thing. Also, DEF CON, if you can, they have a social engineering village. That's how I kind of got my start. Well, I was doing improv and all that, but I said, I'm going to compete. At first I was going to go in the first year and just watch it, go to DEF CON, watch it, and then apply the following year. I was like, nah, do that Hail Mary, baby. We're going for this. So essentially the competition there, if you folks don't know about it, they, social engineering village, they put on a competition every year, a vishing challenge, where you call up a company and you're trying to get information out of them. You got a list of questions and all. But the way that works is I forget when you try out or so. You have to send in a 2-minute video, pretty much explain why you should be in this competition. It's kind of like you can kind of do whatever, which I like about it. My video I sent in, I can find it and send you a link later, but I hypnotized a chicken. So like I was able to do that because you can actually hypnotize a chicken if you get them to focus on a straight line. They will actually go into a trance. But I set it all up using like social engineering techniques, stuff like that. Yeah, I got in. So as soon as you get accepted, you agree. All that. They'll send you an email, and then they'll send you like a package almost in the email. And it's like, all right, here is your call time at DEF CON, be there. I had like 4 in the afternoon. They're like, be here 4 in the afternoon at this date. They gave me my company, and it's a company, you're, legit real company. And so then your first phase, you're doing a OSINT / like vulnerability assessment. So you got a list of objectives, questions they ask, and you got to go out there and see if this company that they've given to you, whether it be do they use like badge authentication? So you can go on Google Maps, look. Oh yeah, they have badge readers. You can kind of see, so stuff like that. So you send in that report. You get graded. That's your first bit, and then yeah, you go in for the second bit, or your the third or the second part is you're writing your pretext plan and sending that in because they want that, and it's important because that's what you're going to be using when you're in the booth there making your calls. So yeah, you do that. They grade all that, and then yeah, the third part's your call when you go in that day, and it's crazy how they do it. So yeah, you get in there, got 22 minutes, and Rob was in there in the chat there. He was there that day, watched my call and everything. And so, yeah, you're just doing your call, and you have a list of all the numbers. Because I had franchises, so that was my decision. I was like, I'm not going to go towards headquarters. I'm going to go for the franchises. And so that's what I did. I was just calling franchises, trying to get info. I had a pretty decent call. The first lady I had was awesome. I told her she was an absolute angel. You know, and the audience is watching you; they can hear everything. You know, but the caller can't hear the audience or anything, just you. You know, so she was an absolute sweetheart. She really was. Like she was giving me all this information. All of a sudden, something happened. We got disconnected. I look at the ref because he's like looking at you. He's operating the phones for you, you know, and he's just like, happened. You know? I'm like, oh. So I reach out to the audience and I'm like, hey, audience, because there's a franchise location there in Vegas nearby. Want to call the place nearby? And I was like, yeah, yeah. So I called them up and I got a little pushback from one of the managers, but I was just confident. I was like, no, no, I'm such and such, you know, and okay. So I got a couple more, and then the time was up, you know. But it goes by fast. You're just trying do, you know. There's some tips there I did learn because it's hard. Like you got 22 minutes, but you want to like slow it down in a way. Because I admit, but you're trying to get answers and rack up points and all this stuff. So it's kind of hard in that regard. But I get what they were saying there. But yeah, that was it. I did that competition. I was lucky. Like I said, I had people at work, and then my leadership was in the audience watching me. So that was really cool. And yeah, so yeah, the social engineering competition, if you can get in, do it. They also have cold calls that Saturday, Sunday you can do where if you sign up on a sheet, you know, they'll call you up and you get like, I think 10 minutes. They'll give you a random company number. You call up in front of everybody. And that's neat
Mm.
watching because you see some good people with like talent, you know, like, oh, shoot, you'd be good. Like, you know, so, so yeah, there's things like that. Obviously get involved with your communities, you know, training, good training. I tell you now, like Brian Harris's elicitation course or by Covert Access Team, highly recommend. Just to better your skill. Obviously, there's books on psychology you can read. There's Cialdini, you know, Influence, the classic there. Robin Dreek's 10 Ways to Influence Folks, you know, positively. I butchered that title. But yeah, there's tons of readings you can do, and it's just psychological books you can grab. Just you know, I have one, Adam Grant, Think Again. You know, that's another good one. You know, I recommend to folks. Just stuff like that, but just you're kind of putting yourself out there. You know, writing articles. You know, research. Um,
Mm.
oh yeah, Rob, this guy, man, he's always complimenting me. Thanks, dude. Dude, yeah, I'm lucky, I guess. You know, I look like I'm still young. You know, I survived my military, you know, career and all. Oh, here's another thing too. I tell people. Hold on here. I learned it too, and I got some books on it. But I'll tell you the name. But tarot card reading. Yeah, like as funny as it may sound, like there's this guy, Ian Ian Rowland, excuse me. He writes a few books on cold reading, how to do tarot card reading for like business, even, you know. But it's just a communication method. That's all you're learning is how to communicate with people. But obviously, you're making people think you're psychic and all that, but you're really not. But the way you talk to people, you can get them to think you're psychic, you know, just with a few cards and, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, that's cool things like that.
I think
Yeah, do
tarot
more.
is mostly about your intuition,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. You know, you just want to be positive and, you know, just be proactive. So like skills like that, because you will get asked that during interviews. Funny, you know this, but I did interview with Black Hills last year as well. And they were asking me like, how do you work on your skills, you know, as a social engineer guy? And I was telling them that, you know, improv, which they really liked, you know. So yeah, you know, but it's just stuff like that, and you get lucky, you know, it may very well happen, you know. But yeah, pride yourself on it, you know. Like be the best you can, you know, and
But
uh,
yeah, like on my side, I would say like be active and so if people like network first, but like be a person that they could recommend, you know. So
yeah.
work on your skills, learn, but and
Mhm.
don't expect that yeah they will you will be recommended because yeah they just met you and I don't know you're a nice person, but because they know that you are a beast and you know, can do stuff, you know. So work on your skills first.
Yeah. And so yeah, work on those skills, you know. And the rest will kind of like fall into place because obviously there's the technical side and all of it, you know. For instance, you know, email phishing and stuff like that. You got to know how to set up infrastructure and you know your infrastructure as code. Thanks to Rob in the chat here, he taught me a lot of that too this past year, you know, and um, stuff like that, and courses I took, you know. So yeah, but a lot of times, yeah, a lot of these folks, the social engineering folks, are attached to red teams and stuff like that. So that's kind of your way in, you know, your best path of least resistance per se. Or you could go all out, open your own company like some folks, and do it that way. I don't know, you know, you're good at sales and all, you know, but it's just that was my path, you know, and just from there, my leadership saw that, you know, and was just like, all right, let's do this. We need social engineering services, and you got to be able to sell it too. Like if you do work, let's say internally for a company, be able to sell it because that's another thing, you know, selling it because a lot of people just want simple penetration tests, right, to meet their whatever it is, their requirements. I can't. So, um, no, that's awesome. But yeah, I say there was a question there. Also, curious, how long have you been doing it? How long do you expect to get into it? When are we asking like when I made the decision, hey, I want to do social engineering, or when did I learn about it from there, or you know, or they'll write in the chat. But yeah, essentially though, it was like kind of when I learned about it. So like I heard about it, you know, like I think I heard the like it was Darknet Diaries with Elise Dennis back, you know, when she won the DEF CON competition and all that for their baby. It was really cool. Um, I kind of heard about it then, and I was like, oh, that does sound neat and everything, you know. But I didn't really know it was like too real of a thing until I got into like the field. So maybe I was about 6 or so months in, you know, almost a year done, and I was like, all right, I really want to do this, you know, give this thing a whirl and see if I got what it takes to, you know, do this. Because, and again, this is not for everybody. Like I know a lot of people that, oh yeah, I'd love to do social engineering, but you know, and I know like pen tester stuff that like frightened, you know, to pick up a phone and trying to get people to, you know, it's not for everybody. You got to have
Yeah,
certain
for sure.
faith and willingness to do certain things, you know. So yeah, but that improv, I will tell you, like helped me greatly because you learn to think on your feet, say things on your feet, you know, right then and there. Yeah. You know, obviously there's things like Toastmasters or doing conference talks. Those help, but only so much. You know, that improv though is just it's the next best thing I feel. It just throws you in there, especially if you're doing a show or you know. But with improv, I tell people a lot of places have your basic improv 101, and I tell people, yeah, do that. There's a lot of the 101 classes. You're not being thrown on a stage by yourself, being told to act. You're working in groups, and a lot of it's playing games. Essentially, your 101 course. It's your 201, your 301, your advanced. That's when you're okay. You're on the stage, and your improv coach is directing you folks and giving you feedback, critiques, you know, all that. And that's when you really get into it. I find that fun. That was like when I was in advanced and all that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know,
I
and you're
think
putting up at the end, and it's you know a lot of
I,
work but fun.
I think Brian also mentioned that he was doing improv, but that's actually
Good.
a good idea because I'm sometimes a bit too shy to approach someone, and yeah, then if I do, then yeah, the ice is gone, and I can talk like in a bubbly way even.
Yeah,
Like the first step is sometimes hard.
it is. It is. And I was the same way with that 101 class. I didn't know what I was getting into, and but then I was like, oh wait, this isn't so bad. And yeah, it's cool too because like a lot of the students I was with, like yeah, I rose up with them. You know, we were together in the 201, the advance, and a lot of them are like, yeah, doing their own shows. One guy I know, he's over in England now, going through actor school over in England. You know, got his start, and I was amazed. You know, it was cool. Like it was bittersweet seeing him, you know, go off to. But I had to say, we were talking that day. I was like, dude, that is so cool. Like you're going to London to be an actor, And then he's like, he's like, at the same time, he's like, he looked at me, he's like, yeah, dude, because he knows what I do, and he's like, I don't know, man. And he goes, you do is pretty cool, man. Your reason why you're doing this, I was like, thanks, man. So, but it's cool though, seeing all your like. We had one individual in there. She like in 101 and just very reserved, introverted. But that 101, like we all saw it before our eyes. It changed her for the good. Like she just become more outspoken. She's funny, funny, like as all hell. Like, and then like now she has her own show. Like she does her own like show like once a month and everything at our theater. It's amazing. Like, yeah, she's just like totally funny now. Like, but yeah, improv can do such good things, and especially your SDE game. It will help dividends, pay dividends. So.
Okay, I have a question from the chat. What's your favorite and least favorite engagement you've been on and why?
If I'm going to say least favorite, and I don't want this to come out the sound the wrong way. Rob's going to be like, "What the hell?" No, it's I wouldn't say it's least favorite, but anxiety inducing. I would have to say like my first time doing something, or not that it's a bad thing, because like we're gonna learn from this ultimately. So like maybe that uncertainty, those are my worst ones, I have to say. But by the end of that one, I'm feeling much better. Like, all right, cool, that was a great experience. Obviously the best ones are, yeah, you're getting a cool finding or two, or you got something. I feel those are the best ones, but yeah, but like those are, I feel, I wouldn't say word. I hate saying that. I hope Rob, I hope like your ears are blocked this moment. I don't know, but that's what I have to say. Like in the uncertain ones, you're just like, do I know? Like, because it's like you can go in there, you can do all the training you want and stuff. There's always that little bit, just like, am I, especially, yeah, in this real world. So.
Yeah. So another one is like a very cool question, actually. Can you do your best impression of Prison Mike from The Office?
No, but I want to bite. But my kids love it. And when I do this Bane from Batman, like so like I do his cartoon voice pretty good too, like, yes, look over here there. Yes. Oh God, my stomach from those burritos last night. You know. I love doing Bane. but
Yeah, I'm
but
I'm waiting for
can't do
Gordon Ramsay now. I'm not sure why.
but yeah, I can't do Prison Mike. The worst part though is the Dementors. That's all I'll say about Prison Mike. Have you seen that episode of Prison Mike?
Yes.
The Office. Oh, I love that
Yeah, I
episode.
I watched Office a few times already. It's my happy
Keep it
place.
real good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, can you give an example of particularly successful social engineering attack you performed during a job?
So I mean, recently, we got someone to navigate to the site of ours. It was a fake site we stood up and everything, but I mean that worked out, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying with like the list of callers and all that. Like a lot of them didn't answer, but all it takes is one. And I got my one. So like to get that breach or whatever it is you're looking for. So yeah, because like a lot of people, like when you put up those numbers, some people read that report and think, oh, well, you only got one. Well, that's all it takes, And so yeah, I mean, the best way of putting it, just getting your one, That's all
Yes.
it takes for this stuff is just one, So
Same in dating, I think.
yeah, that's all it takes. Yeah.
You just need one.
So true.
Sorry. I don't know. I digress. Can you share any interesting stories where you successfully bypassed physical security? What techniques did you use? Uh,
Just training stuff.
yeah,
Work-wise, I haven't really done any physical. We're changing that. We're trying to, but
yeah, yeah, same as
I
me.
mean, I've
But
done cool stuff in training, like
yeah, yeah,
well, so we'll tell a funny. Like I thought it was the coolest thing. At the end of the day, it really wasn't. But so yeah, I was down in Tampa for that practical physical exploit course, and so we had to go to this coffee shop, get a photo of a badge, from this employee. So we had the individual. There was three of us in the coffee shop, but we could not get a good angle to get a photo, or whatever. The coffee shop was busy, And this is a real Starbucks we're in here. It's like, dang it. So I was like, I texted my team. I was like, hey, look, I'm gonna go out to my truck because we had our kits with all of our equipment. I'm gonna set up across the street here, and I'm gonna wait for her to walk out the door. Just let me know, and I'll snap a picture. Cool. So we're sitting there, and I'm set up and everything. I feel cool, like in a spy movie. Like I got my hat backwards, sitting on my camera. And I'm waiting. All of a sudden, my teammate's like, "Yep, she's walking through." It was perfect. Boom, click, got a good photo. We're like, ah, we're feeling like spies or whatever. And so yeah, we go. I forget what we had to do. I think we had to go make the badge after or whatever it is. And but in all reality, it's like we didn't have to really go that crazy, for the photo and all. But I felt cool as hell. Yeah, damn right. So that's my story.
yeah. That's all it matters. If you like your job and like you had fun, so yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It beats like if you were be like, yeah, you have this kind of a job, or you could be an accountant. So yeah, obviously your job is way cooler.
Right. But I
Uh,
felt
s-
so cool taking that photo. It was like out of a movie too. Like, I was like, all right, let's go, Raleigh. Let's rally up, right? And we're all pulling out of there in our cars. Literally, so funny, so ridiculous, but yeah, it was a good time.
yeah. What's your the name's Bond? Jeff Bond.
Jeff Bond. Sounds like I'm almost like a Bales bondsman, with that name, Jeff Bond.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm curious. Do you have to secure any special permissions before engaging in certain aspects of a pen test, such as impersonating stuff?
Oh yes. So yeah, whenever we like, we'll build pretexts with using personas of actual company personnel. So, with that, we obviously just don't go and use it, right? The ethic issues there. So yeah, we clear it through legal, all that. Yeah, we have really good legal folks and everything. Very proactive, and I really like them a lot. Um, so yeah, we'll go through our legal department. We actually created a document, an acknowledgement that we'll be using the persona and all that. And so, obviously legal looks at that, cool. And then we'll reach out to the person, obviously, let them know. I'll set up a meeting, typically one or two of them, or whatever we're going to use. And yeah, we go over the form. I explain to them. I let them know we're not gonna dig into your life unless you got a cool cat or dog. Then I'm gonna want to see more. But other than that, though, yeah, it's just like we keep it to LinkedIn, stuff like that. We're not really trying to know everything about their lives, just enough to build that pretext and everything. But I haven't had any issues, not like anyone said no, really, honestly. But yeah, we're very, very careful about that, especially if we're calling like help desk or anything and run the possibility of opening tickets or anything like that. We don't want that to really happen or mitigate it so far. So, like case in point, done MFA resets, all that. We'll just go short when I know they're going to go ahead and do it. I'll use an escape clause, something like that, just to, hey, I got to hang up, whatever reason, silly reason, and call it good there. Because yeah, we're just trying to again mitigate anything happening to the person that's letting us use their persona. It's the right thing to do. So yeah, there's things like that. Obviously, we have our rules of engagement. We have to write out, get it cleared by everybody, or CISO's got to, sit down and go, okay, cool. I'll tell you though, that is a cool feeling when CISO's like, yeah, go forth. I'm like, yes. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, just stuff like that. Obviously notifications to the right folks. And then even the team, like for instance, help desk, like I'm sitting with help desk leadership, got a communication channel going. Hey, just letting you know, gonna make calls today, stuff like that. So, but biggest thing, communication. Yeah, if you're using that communication, you can't go wrong. I haven't ran into issues really, so yeah,
Yeah,
it's when you're
that
hiding stuff or trying stupid things, that's when you're gonna get in trouble. So
yeah, actually, communication is a very important skill, and I didn't, yeah, know that now. Yeah, actually, it's on the job like adverts because some people have hard time communicating, so
all right, see,
that's like a surprising thing for me.
yeah,
But yeah, so my cat really wants to
I
be
don't know. And
part
that's the
of
thing
this team.
too. Yeah, with leaders and stuff. Yeah, you want them included. You want folks included on this. Yeah, you don't want to be try to be all smoke and mirror. No, that's not cool. Like because at the end of the day, too, yeah, we're calling their centers or wherever it is, and like pen testing, we're kind of saying your baby's ugly, with that report or whatever. Like that's the reality. And yeah, you just don't want to beat up on them badly. Oh, your people suck or whatever. No, that's not the case. So include them, let them know what you're doing or how the process works, and yeah, they'll appreciate you more and more apt to like in the future too. Like, yeah, let's do more work together. Yeah, we really like this. This was like beneficial. So
Yeah. Uh, okay, next question. What advice would you give to individuals who want to prevent themselves from being targets of social engineering attacks?
um obviously there's things you can do, your social media hygiene. Obviously, there's acceptable levels that we're our own personal security that we're comfortable with information getting out. So you got to kind of know that level, and knowing that level, what to expect. Yeah, if you're putting your business out there every day, all day, getting this specific, yeah, that's going to be juicy, information. Even with LinkedIn a bit, and again, like, because I've seen people get harped on for having LinkedIn accounts, or like I've seen findings. Oh yeah, they had like these LinkedIn accounts, and yeah, blah blah blah. What are people to do? Like of course they gotta have LinkedIn accounts, and like it's just how things go. So, um, yeah, so just kind of like know that. I mean, yeah, I don't want to like scare people and like, oh, you gotta button everything up, I mean, use a password manager, but not to freak out too much, folks, because there is going to be that exposure. It's just you kind of have to. You got to live your life. So be wary of that. So once you know that, okay, just kind of know like your footprint and everything. What you're putting out there. Another piece too, I like to say is you get a call, email. If something is in your stomach and it's not right, and a lot of folks will, they're like, it's just something didn't seem right, but I did it. Like kind of like I said with the email. So you visited this bad site or whatever. Like I did have something in me. I was like, no, but I want to know. Like I didn't visit this site. Blah blah blah. That kind of overrode my gut feeling there. I allowed it to. So if you got that gut feeling in your stomach, like something ain't right, go with it. Because 9 times out of 10, I'd rather be wrong and have that legit call. Hey, my bad. I just thought you were somebody. A lot of people are going to understand. Okay, cool, no worries. Then, yeah, being that one on the, that caused that story on the front page, or whatever it is. So, yeah, go with
Yeah.
your gut feelings a lot of the time. And I think there's even studies with that. Uh, People with that gut feeling, like why that happens and everything. So, pretty neat. But go with your gut feeling, because yeah, again, like when this happens, it's least when you least suspect it, it's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
I've talked to people that are just, you ain't gonna get me. Nah, I'm gonna find you. At your, and that's another thing. These attackers and all that. Me personally, like if I'm gonna attack somebody or whatever, I'm gonna find. I'm watching them because as hackers, they got time. So if I'm sitting there watching, oh, I'm gonna attack at a certain moment. I see on your Facebook, oh, today's not a good day or for you, or today's a really good day, and maybe I want to capitalize on that. Stuff like that. It's just things people don't realize. People are in. Another thing too. Um, just yeah, again with the footprinting and everything, just kind of know your level. A lot of most folks, what you got to watch out for is like your cyber criminals, kitty, script kiddies, stuff like that. Advanced persistent threats are not coming after you. Well, you're not that important, unfortunately, and that's not a bad thing, but just keep that in mind. Just be realistic. Take a realistic approach. Not everything is there to get you. Just know what is, and just be realistic about it. So those three things, I think, common sense approach to take.
You just mentioned something that got sparked my interest there. So you said not a good day for social engineering that person.
Yeah.
So when is not a good day for you? When do you step away from?
Oh, I've had days where I'm like, I can't make calls today. Mentally, I'm not with it. I just had days I'm like, I just can't do this, whether I'm stressed or, don't do it. Don't, talk to your boss. And I remember doing that. I was like, hey, boss, just today, not good. I'll get back at it tomorrow, promise. Cool, no problems. It happens, and next day, back at it, But what I was getting with that is just you're watching your victim per se,
Yeah, yeah.
and on their emotions. But it was a good thing you put up there that question because there's just days you're not. So don't do it. Don't do it. If you got a chip on your shoulder for whatever reason, don't do it. It's going to transfer over there, and it's just going to. That's when you're going to have that catastrophe we talked
Yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah.
So yeah, that's my advice. Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't actually. I remember that you shared some like a picture with the badge that you created. Can you?
Oh,
I totally forgot about that. I just remembered. So can you tell me more? Like maybe share with others.
oh, the one I sent you.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, and that's coming to you, by the way.
fingers crossed. Post office
There
and.
should be. Yeah, I hope so. I packed some goodies in there too for you. American goodies. All right, so
Woohoo.
yeah, folks. So when I'm out and about at conferences and everything, I've just kind of noticed, I see a lot of people just doing awesome crap, like just doing cool things. I'm like, man, that's so cool, or they're just a leader in their community and they're just out there getting it, and I'm like, that's what's up, just positive, all that. But not everyone can win awards, and we see some of these competitions, and the awards get a little silly and all. So, but I've decided, and my time in the military and everything, we had what we call challenge coins. And these were given not like almost like an award you would get, but like, yeah, when you do something cool or make a big impact or, whatever it is, you'd get a coin, and a lot of these would be designed, like a lot of our like, upper leadership would get these, designed with their logo and all that. And it's just a good way of just recognition and all that cool stuff. And got a nice coin to collect. And a lot of, military history, what would happen is like soldiers at the bar or whatever. Okay, you'd have your coins, and like whoever would throw the coin out, everyone had to produce their coin. And if they didn't, whoever didn't have one had to buy the next round. But if you pull out the coin, everybody does. You have to buy the next round. So at the bar. So that's military tradition. Anyways, I wanted to come up with something like that for our field. And it's like so taking my name, my handle, Ghost Space Killer, and all that. I came up with an award called the Ghost Space Killer Stealth Operator Award here. So the cool badge I give out when I'm out and about, I see cool things, or I notice people that are just out there, in the community kicking ass. Hence why you got one in the mail, because yeah, you are out there kicking ass, taking names. So and giving back to our community and just doing awesome things. So yeah, they light up. Hopefully this is the one that does. 1, 2, 3. Come on. Oh, there we go. Yep, takes a second. But yeah, they light up and everything. And so this is my little emblem, I had made into a PCB board. The lights change and yeah, pretty neat. So you're
That's so
getting one of
cool.
these. And again, just an award, saying, hey, keep kicking ass and, taking names. So yeah. But yeah, so I go around to conference with these, and I'll bring one or two, and yeah, people I see out there that are doing awesome things, pull them aside and be like, you earned this. So but yeah, the movie Mystery of Chess Boxing, Ghostface Killer, he throws this amulet. Mine's different in a way. Like mine's designed a little different, but pretty similar. So before he challenges his folks, he throws it out there and he challenges them to a duel. You know, little kung fu film. So that's where I got my inspiration from and all that, and that good stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. Uh,
Yeah. And Fox Pick makes these. Actually, I got to call in because I am all out. This is my last one from the first order. So yeah, you have a #1 edition, first edition of these badges.
Oh,
I might make it all black. The next one, they're really awesome over at Fox Pick. Jenny Rogers and all them. Yeah, they were showing me off designs, but they made it all black. I was like, oh, that's sick. I'm like, all right, I think the next batch. So yeah, Ghostface Killer Stealth Operator Board. So yeah, if you see me out at conferences, I'll be at Layer 8 with a few of them. That's for sure. So.
yeah. I really want to meet you in person, so hopefully that will happen next year.
Sure, I think so. I'll drive up to Denver for sure. We'll get dinner.
Okay, I'm running out of questions, so if anyone
No
wants to
worries.
ask something,
Yeah.
then please write in the chat. But asking the last ones, have there been any memorable failures where things didn't go as planned during apprentice? And what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, that things, like go wrong, not exactly as I want, like certain write-ups, just things like that. Uh, there have been certain findings that you just know that isn't a finding at the end of the day, and just learning to accept it. Not everything is, and I, yeah, it's just like because you got to remember what's expected at the end of the day. What is the client looking for, and some days it sucks. Well, I wouldn't say sucks, but all they're looking for is that simple PCI test, so they can show the auditors we're good, because they're not going to care. Hey, yeah, I did X, Y, Z, and all this cool stuff to get by. Right, that's great, cool. Where's my report? Like they're not going to care. So just like keep that in mind. That's not going to go expected at times. I just don't get disappointed. It's just the nature of the beast. The way it works. Remember, getting a nice paycheck at the end of the day. If you're lucky, should be getting paid at least. So if anyone's getting free work off you like that, yeah, that's a
So
no.
you guys are getting paid?
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, look around. You guys get paid? What? No, yeah. So just be cognizant of that.
And to flip it around, what is your biggest win in life?
When in life,
Yeah.
um, obviously, yeah, just being a father, husband, just having a kick-ass family. I just, that's what you can go to at the end of the day. When the chips are down, and yeah, life isn't going your way. They're going to be there. So that's my biggest, I feel win, just having them in my life and getting to marry my wife and having my kids, and like just being a survivor in a way. I'll be honest, like, yeah, growing up, and I know Rob, we've had talks about this, he's in the chat, but like, yeah, growing up was not good, just horrible parenting, lack of, like I was telling, I did time in a group home at one point, so, just being able, and then, going into a career in the military where I'll be honest, yeah, it was just, I came in right before 9/11. So in that 20 years, just war, this, that, busy, and just coming out on that other side to a place right now where, yeah, I'm so happy. Like Sunday evenings, I don't mind Sunday evenings. Actually, I'm like, cool. I get to wake up and go work with a bunch of folks, every day that are passionate and just good attitudes, and plus I get to work from home. That's a bonus too. And it's something just I have it so nice, and I'm just thankful for all of this. I came out on the other side okay in the end. So far, so, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
I'm
what I am
really,
thankful for and love. It just I made it out on the other side. From a bad situation to where I'm at today. So.
I'm really happy to
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
that.
I was military, and yeah, I did train dogs for years. That was like my first real gig in the military, canine. That was a great job in itself too. So working with all these dogs, and a lot of them have their own personalities. It's really funny. Um, yeah, that was a kick-ass job too. Right up there with what I'm doing now. Yeah, it was definitely a kick-ass job. So,
Yeah. Sounds really fun, actually.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, but I don't want to put too much
Oh, you're not. No, this is
emphasis
great.
on that, but I just wanted to say because you said surviving. and walking out on the other side. I went through some things too in my life, so
Yeah.
I'm really happy that although it was like kind of like life and death kind of situation, that I survived and I'm still here.
Hey.
And I learned a lot through that experience, and that it kind of like woke me up. So I'm not procrastinating my life away. I'm trying to
Right.
live my best life,
Right.
yeah, as as much as I
Awesome.
can. But yeah,
Yeah.
actually, very character building to go through like big trauma.
Yeah, no, you need like hardship. It builds character, you know. I'm not saying people should have horrible things happen
No,
to them.
no.
They're not cool at all, you know. But it happens, you know. Unfortunately, bad things can happen to good people, you know. But you know, if you can, you know, and just make it on that other side, it's a great thing. You know, you walk out better, you know, for sure. Um,
To change a subject a
yeah.
bit, I wanted, yeah, actually two questions. First, I
Mhm.
wanted to ask, could you walk us through the process of how a typical pen test unfolds? Like, what are like the phases? But the other question was, do you think we need education, like, I don't know, university, or some like specific certs to get into cyber? Like, what is your opinion?
All right. So yeah, the first one there. Sorry. So are we asking like my steps after we conducted the test and things are done on
Yeah,
that end?
how do you start? What is happening in the
Oh,
middle?
okay.
Like, what is happening at the end?
So yeah, the way we do it is you know, especially the SE side, you know, what will happen? We work well with our cyber threat intel folks. You know, we got meetings all the time. We work tight. You know, a lot of time they'll be them driving it, so they'll be like, hey, we got a kind of an ask from you. You know, whether it be, you know, hey, we got this criminal group we want to test against, and you know, a lot of times, you know, we're running this in parallel with actual like purple team engagement or red team engagement, because you know, a lot of times we do assume breach, but we try to run SC parallel to show them, you know, hey, this is a problem here too, you know. So again, like more out of just a simple, I wouldn't say simple, but you know, these tests are not simple, but you know, something else, you know, with the testing there than your standard, you know, uh, assumed breach. So, you know, depending on the intel and everything I get, you know, yeah, you know, we'll sit there and talk about it more. You know, I'll talk with my folks, you know, on the team because yeah, I just can't be like, yeah, we'll do it. We got a lot of things going on, so we got to be able to see if you know we can schedule that in even and you know, talk to get the leadership approval. You know, my bosses, all that. You know, that's the biggest thing. So after that, you know, once we got kind of an idea, you know, I'll start drafting up my ROE, rules of engagement. You know, obviously I'll give it to Rob here. Rob, you'll go through it, you know, like this sucks, you know, rewrite it, whatever it is, or, you know, this is good, cool. And then, you know, we route that through our leadership all the way up to make sure, okay, we obviously have to set up calls, you know, with leadership to do the ROE readouts and making sure everyone's good and, you know, get all the final approvals. Legal's got to obviously take a look at this. You know, I would feel weird or super uncomfortable if they didn't, because I'm like legal. You know, that's the first, you know, definite stop there. So yeah, once that's all said and done, we'll get the approvals. You know, and while we're doing this too, we're kind of working in unison. So you know, I have to like if I have to get equipment, case in point, you know, I had to get phones for this last one, you know, so I had to do like you know a request for all that, you know, hey, I need a couple phones, phone cards, you know, da 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 da. Cool, so that gets approved, so we can buy that as we're going along and doing our planning. The personnel, you know, I want to make sure, yeah, folks are trained up, ready to go, or you know, those that want to. Um, Obviously, yeah, pretext. We gotta start drafting those out, you know, and that's work too. Like this last, I don't know how many working copies I had of it, you know, and we had to keep going back because sometimes leadership wants to see those pretexts as well, which I don't blame them, you know. So, you know, kind of show them that, you know, not that they're critical or anything. They just want to see what you're up to. That's all, you know. Cool. Um, so yeah, you know, we'll have those pretexts. You know, we'll be going those. There's a lot of meetings leading up. And what I'm trying to bring home here is a lot of planning going on, you know, leading up to this. A lot of moving pieces and all. So yeah, you want to make sure they're ready, and I'm going to be ready to tell you folks, be ready for this engagement to move and slide over. Things happen, especially when you're working for an internal, team, because there's just other objectives and things that are more important to get done versus, whatever it is you are. So that can get a little frustrating. I'm not like saying super, just stinks. You gotta wait till you get those books. But after that, like I said, again, we're going through all these approvals. Once we get the final approval with our CISO, all that, that's when it's like, all right, this is real. Obviously, you mentioned it before with your Kaban board. We got tons of cards. We're moving stories, all that. Just trying to play it out in my head. From there, obviously we've opened up those communication channels, and we have our dates. So once we start executing, I like to, hey, especially with like I said, I mentioned earlier, help desk folks and all that, their leadership. Hey, I'm going to be making calls tomorrow. Kind of give them a heads up. I'm not saying specifically what I'm doing, but let them know this is what I'm trying. And obviously, too, you're going to get with these folks too, because you want to, get with that leader. Because case in point, I know I mentioned tickets and everything earlier. Yeah, you want to like deconflict all of that, because you don't want tickets opened on these folks that you're using their personas or whatever. So again, that's another piece, like working with them and trying to, kind of showing them your plan and everything, and making sure they're trusted, obviously, because you only want trusted insiders, all that. But yeah, after you do your testing and all that, however that goes on, you determine. Yeah, it's kind of like report writing time at that point. I mean, you are writing down your notes and everything for your report, or having that ready to make it easy and all. Yeah, writing out a report, and that's the fun part. That's when, you do your peer reviews and making sure, because, again, you may think you have something, man, you really don't. And I ran into that, thought I had more than I really did, I mean, I agreed in the end. I saw why, but you go through all that, and then you do your readouts. Obviously, you do it with my leadership, and then boom, 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 move up the chain there, and that's that. But it kind of doesn't end then either. It's not like we're handing a report and saying, see you later. No. We kind of consult, ourselves too. I know like pen testing, they do too after they finish a pen test, in our company. It isn't just here's a report later. No, we have consulting hours. Folks can come and, hey, I didn't understand this. Can you explain it better? Cool, or we help drive at better, answers and stuff, for their fixes and all. And that's what I kind of do too. Right? Hey, just be a little better at this, or just beware, or hey, we may need to change these procedures or whatever it is that you do find. You work with them in getting that answer and helping them implement something. So.
Yeah, I have a question from the chat, and it kind of complements what you've been talking about. How many years being a pen test and red team specialist did it take to get this good?
Get this good? I'm good? Thanks. No, it was just opportunities and stuff. I was like with most. I just got with the red team here like in September. Like it was just opportunities and everything I took. And I had good leadership. I'll be honest, they were a big driving force, and they believed in me. Because I could have sat on the other team there still to this day, and just that's just the way it goes. That was a big factor. With that, how many years and everything. It's just they sped that up for me because they believed in me. They knew what I could do, and I proved it to them. But yeah, that's just it's different for everybody. It really is. But I got a lot of those foundational skills and everything from being on that pen test side and coordinating and whatever it is. Like that really set me up to where I'm at now. Because I knew how the processes worked. I knew how to write reports. I knew how to, do those things, not all the way. I mean, red team has their little isms because it is different, as we all know, pen testing, red teaming, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And what is the, I will get back to the question I asked about getting into cyber, but actually this question maybe is better to ask now. What is the most satisfying part of your job as a penetration tester and social engineer?
The people I get to work with,
Yeah,
the team I work with now, especially. I mean, don't get me wrong, the team where I came from before was phenomenal too. but we all work together under one umbrella. So it's just like, they're just amazing people. The compassion and empathy, from them, just amazing. Because I'll be quite frank with you guys, this thing I like to get into about mental health and everything. Like my first year out of the military was rough. It was rough. 21 years of doing that, and then you're thrown into like a different world, corporate world here. Case in point, I tell this one is my favorite example. Like my first year, here I'm thinking around Christmas time, I have to get all these tests scoped, ready to go for testing January 1st. I'm thinking this in my mind. No way, shape, or form was that the reality. Like, because I told my boss, like, he's like, no, I wasn't expecting you. But I'm thinking in my mind, because I'm military, I'm going. Where here in the corporate world, where I'm at, after Thanksgiving, good luck. People are going on vacation. It's holiday time, so you're not going to get the things you need, and that's okay. So, yeah, that's why I kind of just learned like my first year. Like, oh, I don't need to be as, gung ho, this, that, the other. And that was like a big wake up call. But there was other things like obviously the mental game, finding the right meds to go on, because I'll be honest, it was the first time when I retired, I came to I accepted that I have like these things like PTSD, ADHD, depression, like these things, So it's just like navigating that, getting the right meds, because not every med works the same way for everybody, as we know. You got to find the right ones that work. And that was a journey in itself. Wow, that alone. So yeah, my first year, but once that like kind of surpassed that first, it was, it took off like a rocket. But yeah, it's just things like that, that's what I love about them, the compassion, and they showed that with me, and I'm forever thankful, to them, especially my boss at the time, Eric, love that dude, can't wait to see him next month when I fly down for our team summit. But yeah, that's just one thing about them all. Love them all, man. Like seriously, good people. Even when we're not at our best on our days, because we all have our days. I do. Yeah, I love those guys. So that's the best part of my job. Yeah. Also, to go back on the certs though, education and all that. When it comes to degrees and everything, I mean, I have a bachelor's in cybersecurity. Cool. If I were to go back or whatever, it would be in computer science, for sure. Um, do I plan on going higher in my formal education like that? Maybe, I've considered my master's, maybe, we'll see. I just prefer the cert route. I love, it's just better than taking a course like that, formal education, in my opinion. You got the labs, all the hands-on stuff, and all that, But like, do you need a degree to get into cybersecurity? No, you don't. Do you need certs? Depends. You don't have to run out and get your CISP as a beginner. I'll tell you that right now. I've ran into folks who think you do, but whatever, I was kind of told, as I was coming up, and this is how I tell folks right now. All right, you want to get into cybersecurity. I tell you, if you want to get certs and all, I tell people at a base level, that is it. Get your Network Plus, your Security Plus from CompTIA. They're not expensive. They won't break the bank typically. You don't have to go to a boot camp or anything crazy like that. You can learn everything on YouTube. I'll be the first to tell you that, Professor Messer. No,
Yes.
like that guy should get a Nobel Peace Prize, I swear, but like, yeah, that's how I, learn things. Cisco Packet Tracer, you can download that for free and learn how to network and set up routers, switches. Obviously it's best if you can afford it, build a home lab. And if you do things like that, for my US friends here, Goodwill, they sell things cheap, like routers. I built my first home lab off of Goodwill. Like the Goodwill, you buy a refrigerator for $10, Goodwill. And that's what I did. I, got my first router, switch, everything, through Goodwill there. But again, you don't have to pay out the pocket, for this stuff. It blows my mind, some of the things I see people go through. no, like you don't, like especially cyber boot camps and everything you see out there. There's probably maybe a good handful that I'd say are worth it. Majority of them are junk. They're not going to get you ready or get you a job like you think, especially the promises they make to my veteran brothers and sisters. It angers me, when I see them, getting taken advantage of by these places, and they walk out with nothing and like saddled with debt. So yeah, be wary of that. But certifications and all, I tell people Net Plus, Sec Plus. While you're doing your Sec Plus, you're gonna figure out what you want to do specifically within cyber, because it's such a huge umbrella of a field. That's when I figured out I want to do penetration testing. Was when I was doing my Security Plus, because then right in after that, started learning, doing Hack the Box, all those things. Kind of stepped up my game there. Try Hack Me came out at that point, so I got in on that. And yeah, people that are beginning, start with Try Hack Me. All right, it will hold your hand, and they got advanced stuff, like really good advanced stuff too. Once then go to like Hack the Box or something like that. I tell people typically, but yeah, you really just with those two certs, and even then, let's say you want to get into penetration testing. Like, imagine people watching this stream, they typically do. I tell people then, like, okay, you don't have to again spend tons of money on your OSCP. Actually, I tell people stay away from that for a while. INE, you have EJPT, right? You got a Cyber Mentor. They got great beginner certs. Like network pen testing. I think they came up with a web one not too long ago. Stuff like that where it doesn't break your bank. It is then, once you get a job and, with those certs, those ones I just told you about, yeah, look where then you have your company pay for your OSCP or whatever it is, and you can do it. I got hired and I didn't have an OSCP, um, don't like, because I see that a lot too. Like, I don't have my OSCP. No, you don't, you don't. Like, yeah, it'll help if you have it. You'll get you that interview. Yes, but that's it. It's not going to
Yeah.
guarantee you a job. It's not going to guarantee you, so they're going to want to see other things like your skill sets, your soft skills, especially.
But isn't it funny for you that ICP doesn't really teach you web pen testing, and that's what you'll be doing on like the first few years of yeah, being a pen tester? So it makes no sense for me to like want to like the beginners to have ICP if you're not going to utilize any of those skills at your job, So
Yeah. There's better certs than I feel now, like the Hack the Box CPTS. I'm doing it now. Like, wow, the knowledge and everything, the lab's beautiful, like it's just been wow, amazed with Hack the Box as of late, with their academy there. So
oh yeah, I'm also doing the bug
yeah, I
bounty
saw
there.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
really
I'm good
good.
at CPTS, and I did the Wi-Fi modules recently, and they were great too. The Wi-Fi module, I was impressed. Great
And
working labs and knowledge.
I wanted to add here a bit that Black Hills InfoSec also has a lot of trainings that you can pay
Oh yeah,
as much as you can. Like if you cannot afford, to pay a lot, then you can pay whatever. And yeah, I think that's really cool. I really respect that.
no, they do. I did a bunch of their stuff too. The pay what you can, and I tell people, yeah. Now that you mentioned that, there are 3 courses John has there that either free or pay what you can, and he says it's all his folks. He has all his folks go through these 4 classes, especially if you're working the SOC for him or anything, and John and them, Um, so yeah, like pay attention to those, if you see those. But yeah, there's a great bunch of like, because they work with especially web and everything, secure ideas that they work with them a lot, and they have a bunch of courses they do with anti-siphon about APIs, everything, take it, it's cheap, and great training, solid training. So, yeah, Black Hills, the anti-siphon there, they got a bunch of great cheap training.
Yeah.
And even then, like that physical course I took was through them, and yeah, I mean, it wasn't cheap, but at the same time, it was as cheap as they can get it, like that's what I like about them, too, because they try to make it as cheap as they can, possibly can. So that's a
Yeah.
big thing too. My military background, I have a strong background in education and training, building curriculum and all that. And that is like the one thing they teach you day one when you're sitting in your class. How can I make this, so it's effective where people can, learn it and at the lowest cost possible? Those are the two things. And yeah, so it's amazing when I see that.
I have a question from the chat. How many certs do you have?
Right now, 3. Yeah, 3. Unless I don't. Do you count those ones with CAT or covert access team? We're doing practical stuff at the end. I feel like they should or they
Yeah,
are. Yeah, because like you're doing legit stuff at the end.
yeah,
Like you're sweating and yeah. So say
yeah.
no fewer than me.
Actually, now you mentioned it, I thought, oh, I only have CompTIA Security Plus.
Yeah.
As you
Right.
mentioned that, I actually have a lot more. But yeah,
Right.
I
That's
just
why I
want.
was trying to like answer that question. I mean, on paper, official at 3. GPen. I let my Net Plus, Sec Plus run out. I just didn't need them anymore. But GPen, I have the INE, EJPT, and then I have a crypto investigator one. Crypto, doing investigations with, a lot of that, believe it or not, banking folks have this one. It's weird, but people that do open source intelligence investigations and all that, that's the only reason I did. Because I was doing a dark webathon competition, and it was kind of a nice thing they offered, because that was like the main mission that year, because we're doing real cases, and it was crypto, human trafficking, the use of crypto, transferring funds, and so yeah, we essentially did that certification ahead of time before the competition, so we were ready. You had to take an exam at the end, and all that stuff, but it was pretty cool. So yeah, 3, yeah.
That does sound pretty cool. So yeah, my next question would be,
Mhm.
do you have any tips on burnout prevention? Yeah.
Good one, good one, good one, good one. Yes. I'll be real, everyone. Burnout is real. It is very, very real, and it will sneak up on you without you even like really knowing it. Yeah, just one, like ID yourself to your friends, family. Like, I'm going through a rough time right now. Do so. Don't suffer in silence. That said, just be good to yourself. Because yeah, a lot of usually with that burnout, there's other thoughts that creep in as well. Imposter syndrome just, is one of them. Stuff like that. So yeah, you just be good to yourself. Give yourself grace, and just know, hey, this is just a period in time, and it is okay. Just walk away from whatever you're doing. Like the last episode I had, I just and no lie, for like 2 weeks, I didn't even like touch a computer or anything. I just did like I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, kickbox, and that's all I did. I did like 2 days, 3 days. I was just training, like an animal. But I loved it. I was in my element. Do what you like, reading books. And don't get me wrong, I played some video games. Like, I'm not a huge gamer, but I love Zelda. Like, I love Zelda and Street Fighter. um, so yeah, I played video games. Obviously, family time, lots of family time, all that. And just do what you want to do, man. Like, you know, not involving cyber computers. Do what you love. I watch mad horror movies, kung fu films, old school kung fu films. I watch all that type of stuff. But just do what you want to do and give yourself grace. Just like it's a phase in time. Just remember that it is a phase in time. It will go away. But definitely unplug yourself from that. Just do it. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna feel weird. I should be doing this or that. No, don't. Don't let those thoughts just go past you. You know.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
remember that when you're taking a break from your screen, that also means your mobile phone. So
Yes,
don't
that
turn
too.
off
Yeah.
your laptop to switch to Instagram on your phone, for example.
Yep.
So I think that's important too. So
Yeah, the
just
only real screen time I'm getting is watching movies, whatever, or video games. That's about it. But there's other stuff. Nope. I can all take a back seat. Music, whatever. Yeah, I listen to vinyl. All sorts of stuff. So.
do you have any advice on starting in cyber? Like, I don't know, maybe I always say like be active, go out there, like I don't know, tweak your CV to the job opportunity or like things like that. Start a blog. But maybe you have other
Oh yeah.
advice.
Um, those things you said were right. And I see this a lot, and myself included. Um, when you're starting out, yeah, everything's going to be super exciting. You're going to want to learn everything under the sun. You can't. It's impossible. Just yeah, don't try. You're gonna burn yourself out, and have to take that advice I just gave. But yeah, just be wary of that. You can't know everything under the sun. Trust me. There are days I would love to go run off and learn CTI, threat intelligence, like really dig in, but yeah, I can't. I got this stuff to do, or whatever it is. So like, in that same sense, be wary of that when starting out. Yeah, start a blog, about those things. That's cool. Join, organizations. Like I started with my local ISSA. I mean, they're worldwide and everything. A lot of cities also have OWASP chapters, Open Web, secure. I forget the rest. That's so bad, but OWASP is great, as well. A great org to start with. And yeah, you're gonna meet at some of these places a lot of folks like you that are just starting out, looking to get in and all. Just stay away from boot camps. We'll say it again: stay away from boot camps. You can get this training and stuff so much for free or at a very, very low cost. And I'll say that. You got questions, reach out to me. I know I put my info in there. I'm on Blue Sky, LinkedIn. Come find me, and I'll show you, where to go or get these resources. But yeah, one shouldn't have to break the bank, when you're trying to get in and all that. So keep that in mind. I like the blogging. Yeah, network, obviously. Network. Just be ready. Some of the things you think you might want at first, it's all going to change. At first, I thought I was going to go blue team and work in a SOC and all these things. Nope. Look where I am now. I work with those folks and I love it, because I get to see that side of the house too, But yeah, just be wary of that. Your desires and wants are going to change, and that's cool. Totally is. So yeah, those are a few things there. I can think
That's
of.
very important. A good answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have three questions. So if anyone has anything to ask, then please go ahead. But what is your favorite hacker movie?
Hacker movie. Well, obviously, I wouldn't say movie. I mean, Mr. Robot was fantastic. Well, obviously, there's hackers, but I feel everyone has seen that, and it's a great movie. I'm not, but hacker movie. I'm just like, there's not too many movies. Like, there are shows, like, for instance, was it The Adventures of Gumball, that cartoon show? Actually, it was one of the very few shows where I heard a very accurate representation of hacking. Believe it or not, yeah, one of the characters was going on how like she was able to bypass a security system, whatever, and she was going on how like yeah, they pretty much scanned the firewall, got access through the firewall, pivoted. I was like, oh, all right, that's funny, but yeah, I'm just gonna go with the TV show. Sorry, Mr. Robot. And obviously it's not so much. I mean, the hacks. I know that I forget who it was for years. We did the articles after saying, yeah, you could do this. Some of it got a little silly, like with Steel Mountain and the social engineering they did there. But all in all, as a crime drama, wow, it
Yeah.
really was a great show. And obviously all the actors and actresses, would come on different seasons and the roles they would play. You're like, whoa, I've never seen you like this.
But also, like for me, it was very good, like representation of what he was going through on a personal level, like and
Oh
also like
yes,
a very
tell me it's a
introverted
personal journey.
person, like cannot really connect with other people. Like yeah, that was like really
Yeah.
good character building.
Oh yeah, when he was sitting there with his therapist, like
Yeah.
especially in the first season there, and he goes, "This is what I really think of society," and I was like, "I kind of get it." So, actually, not kinda. I do get it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So.
Okay. Next question. Thank you. Actually, it's my so favorite one. So yeah, high five, I guess. And the next one. What is your favorite food? Because I'm a foodie, so
Oh
I
yeah.
always ask.
Yes. Like buffalo wings. I love buffalo wings, spicy wings. Like I don't know. It's like and the different styles and like maybe chicken wings. I should just say chicken wings, because like obviously I like buffalo. The spicier, the better. but there are like certain ways I'll do my wings. Like, and here's something for the audience here. So make your chicken wings, get regular chicken wings. Use a dry rub of salt and pepper and cinnamon. Throw them
Ooh.
on the grill. Thank me later. So I'm telling
Cinnamon
you,
is like the secret
yeah,
ingredient.
yeah. But throw that cinnamon in, and I'm telling you, wow, you know. But I'll make spicy wings. I can make spicy wings. Like I do a little trick too, where sometimes I'll take the wing and I'll inject it with hot sauce inside the wing,
Oh shit.
so the hot sauce cooks, and you know, I do crazy things, experiments.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah, butter wings.
have a dish like that, similar maybe a bit. So I have chicken wings, and I
Hmm.
fry them first, like so there it's not raw, and then I add soy sauce, and
Oh yeah,
yeah, fry it a bit like on two sides with the soy sauce, and then
sounds
add chili, and I think honey or like something sweet at
whoa,
the end, and they're like so good. There's like this sticky sauce
sweet
at the end.
and yeah, salty. And
Yeah, it's
then
really
obviously
good.
pierogies. I love pierogies. I'm sure you do too. You know, but
Of
yeah,
course.
the Polish in us, you know.
Yeah, I'm
So
built from
yeah.
pierogies and potatoes, I think,
Oh, I
my
love
body.
both. Oh, yeah, I like the traditional, you know, potato. I'll do like some onion, maybe a little Polish sausage with it, you know, do them up. So,
That
I like the
sausage is
saute
really
them
good.
a lot of the time. Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any. Thank you for coming to my stream.
Of
That
course,
was
I'm
really
glad we did this.
amazing. So I
Yeah.
don't have any more questions. Like the last thing that I have noted on my list is to remember to say that to you. If you have anything to say at the end, like announcement or something to share, like any final words, then now is your time.
Just happy holidays, everybody. Hopefully it's a good one. Relax, you know, take that time, spend it with friends, family, or even then, if you hate your family, I get it. There's, you know, but just do something fun that you enjoy, you know, yourself. And then, yeah, like I said, just keep a lookout. Layer 8 conference here, June 14th in Boston. Just, yeah, look it up on Layer 8 Con. I know that it was posted in the chat. And then their podcast as well, really good too. A lot of good social engineering OSINT stories from the pros. So, yeah, you'll hear more on the workshop that I'll be doing then. If you haven't, check out the hack article that my buddy Rob and I did together, building effective pretexts and building your C2 up for phishing operations and all that. And yeah, that's really about it. Follow me on LinkedIn and Blue Sky. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to share my T-shirt. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
I got my Jason Friday the 13th Christmas Nutcracker. Being festive.
So yeah, at the end, I wanted to also say like thank you for my Patreon supporters and Ghostface Killer Jeff is one of my sugar daddies like that support me on Patreon. So just wanted to mention that now. And
Yeah.
yeah, getting back to the big screen here, where are we? Here. So I just wanted to say thank you again, and yeah, I guess bye.
Bye bye. See you next
Bye.
year.
Yay.
But yeah, we'll talk more for Denver and all. Yeah, we'll meet
Yeah,
up.
for sure.
Sure. So, cool, cool.
Bye.
Bye.